Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, children of all ages, I bring you the greatest show in the next 10 minutes. I am Brent Hazard, and I'm joined, as always, by Richard Schwartz. Thanks for abandoning me last weekend.
Oh, you're welcome. You're welcome. Yeah, I'm sure the show was still good.
It sucked, but it's okay. Mostly because of Bob Wedgeworth. I'm kidding. We thank Bob for filling in. But you were at your grandchild's birthday.
I was, birthday party.
And how was that?
It was great. It was great. He turned 3 years old, so it was awesome. I got to ride in the train.
Did you get a haircut for him?
No, but he needs one really bad. I do talk to my daughter about that all the time, but she likes long hair on her child.
Okay. Richie's oldest daughter, Jessica, who's a good friend of mine, she's a nonconformist.
I would say that's probably true.
She would be that way. But once again, we're joined by Stephen Nixon. Stephen, what's going on?
Oh, not too much. Happy to be back.
Big congratulations to the Clinton Arrows. Correct?
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, that's division. No, what is it called? Region 2, 6A district champs this year. So go Arrows.
And your son is the starting kicker on the team.
That's right. My son's the place kicker, and we actually knocked Starkville out of the playoffs by beating them on Friday night, and so we're going into the playoffs with the number 1 seed and home field advantage and a lot of momentum. So
now, what type of father of the football team player are you? Do you guys bring stuff? Or you drive a bunch of kids home? What is the current Nixon family role on the football team?
No, it's pretty. Do
you have the jersey of your kid?
I don't have a jersey.
Do you have the button?
I don't have a button. We do have some shirts that have his number and name on the back. But yeah, we're not real hardcore. He's always played soccer and golf. He's been on the football team, but he hasn't been playing until this year. So football has always been kind of just an afterthought. But he's doing well this year.
Now, where do you watch the game? Are you with the wife? Are you a pacer?
No, we sit up in the stands and just watch. I'll yell at the refs occasionally when they deserve it, when they need it. So,
and we're joined by one of Richie's partners today, the magical Gerald Crawford.
Thank you for having me. It's first time on your show. I hope I can add something to your discussion today.
Oh, we know you can't, but by law, we have to have an idiot who cheers for the Tampa Bay Bucks.
Yeah. No, actually, he has a Tampa Bay shirt, but he's actually pulling for the Saints
Okay,
today.
good. I'm glad to hear that.
I am, for anyone, I am a diehard Florida State fan. The Tampa Bay Buccaneers drafted
Winslow.
No, Winston.
Jameis
Winston.
Yeah.
Number 1 overall pick. Didn't work out there in Tampa.
And you're blaming Tampa for getting rid of someone who set a record.
I felt like he contributed to
the highest record of interceptions in the NFL.
That and the number 1 offense, the number 1 passing offense for the last 3 years. They were able to build their defense around him being able to take wild gambles on offense, and look, he threw a whole bunch of interceptions.
I think they got a better quarterback right now.
Well, they have a better team overall.
Wow.
So you're saying right now, you're GM of the Buccaneers, you're picking Jameis Winston over Tom Brady.
What I would say right now, if I was looking into the future, I would choose Jameis over Tom. But if I'm looking win right now, what they are in, they are in the win now mode. Damn the future. So if you're asking me in that scenario, then no, I'll go with Tom Brady. Mm-hmm. But if you're talking about building long term in the future, yeah.
Winslow's at the Saints now.
Winstead.
Winston.
There was a Winslow. Kellen
Winslow Jr.
Right. So
okay, I can't.
Now,
but this
there's
is
too many W's.
Who's Kellen Winslow is now in prison
doing 85 years
for raping old women.
Old women, 70-year-old women.
Lord have I didn't hear
women.
that story. He was a great player.
No.
Too. I mean,
No. You're talking about Daddy.
No. He came from Miami. Junior came from Miami, and he was a first-round draft pick.
That's true.
And
he was a tight end.
He was a tight end.
Yeah. Okay.
Are you talking Daddy or Junior or both?
Junior's the one who got convicted.
The tight end who was playing for the Bucks most recently, like several years ago.
Well, the second. He goes by the second. Yeah,
that's the second. Yeah.
He's now in prison for a long time, raping old women.
I mean, and he had problems with public masturbation.
He had a thing for old women, and apparently he couldn't control himself. and like most people.
Hang on. He pled guilty to rape of an unconscious teen and sexual battery of a 54-year-old hitchhiker, part of the plea deal. Yeah. He is sentenced between 12 and 18 years rather than life in imprisonment.
What is with that? Because like Darren Sharper was doing that too. What is with these guys?
They're blaming CTE.
Yeah.
Oh.
No, okay. I'm not saying.
Oh, well, convenient. Yes. Convenient, but still, I mean, you think with these guys, they are. They make a lot of money. I mean, it's really hard on their bodies. I mean, I get that, but these are guys who made a lot of money. You wouldn't think that they would have to resort to that to get women.
They've never heard the word no.
I think O.J. Simpson had it, and I think that's why he made those bad decisions he did.
You mean killing the lover of his wife?
I think he had a brain injury and stealing his own stuff.
Bad decision.
Never been convicted.
You're
never
calling
been
that
convicted.
A bad decision.
Yeah, I'll say that was a bad decision.
Yeah. Well, I mean,
following your wife's busboy boyfriend home and stabbing her multiple times.
Allegedly.
Bad decision.
Allegedly.
Well, he was adjudicated in civil court.
Yeah, he was a civil court.
Yeah. But yes, I mean, okay, here, OJ, did he do it or not?
Yes, he did.
OJ?
And it's like this, like that old Chris Rock skit.
It appears that the evidence
the
evidence point heavily towards his guilt.
That's a lawyer
question.
It's like I'm not saying
such a BS question. When I'm telling you that someone else is using lawyerese and I'm talking to Stephen Nixon, you're full of crap. But anyway, go ahead, Stephen. What were you saying?
It's that old Chris Rock bit. It's like, I ain't saying I agree with it, but I understand. I mean, the whole when he's talking about the circumstances.
You understand following your wife and her boyfriend home and stabbing?
Well, if you got a brain injury, you can't think properly. I mean, he obviously had a something wrong with him. He went to steal his own stuff by gunpoint. He wasn't thinking at all. Something's wrong with his brain.
You literally could say that about every criminal who's ever created a criminal.
It wasn't every criminal, but some criminals.
When were you dropped on your head?
Oh, at birth.
Okay.
Well, and the problem is with the CTE stuff, and I've thought about that too, because you do see a lot of it, like Antonio Brown, Odell Beckham, how they just kind of act crazy sometimes in their private life. But how do you? But you got to have some data or something to show with the statistics, because like how many people with CTE don't do crazy stuff like that?
Well, here's the problem with CTE, and I'll let you get.
I guess it depends how bad it is.
The problem with CTE is you don't know a person has it until they're dead. Until you actually cut their brain.
Shave their head.
You cut their brain open, and Aaron Hernandez.
He had it.
Rocky, whatever.
He had it, but But I think it's a great. You make a great point. You looking at people, and the thing that jumps out at you is it appears that they lack impulse control.
Yeah,
it's like they don't have a barrier in their brain to say, no, I need to
that
stop
thing that
here.
Says stop.
Stop right here.
Don't.
I mean, you have to to be an employee of Swartz and Associates. You have to have a barrier in your brain. You got to be able to say, okay, I got to stop because this guy right here.
I need you to get close to the mic, Mr.
Oh, okay. I'm sorry. No, I mean, fine. You have to be able to have.
Can you cut him off?
You have to have barriers, and when you see people like that, that lack of impulse control, it's nothing but bedevilment and trouble.
But okay, at some point though, where do you recognize that some of these people are freaks since the 6th grade? And it starts off with them getting you don't have to worry about your test scores. Mm-hmm. You don't have to worry about this. Mm-hmm. And then they get to college. And one of Hugh Freeze's biggest problems, because I heard when Saban was there, and I'm not talking about the prostitutes, but when Saban gets hold of a 5-star, I had a friend on the strength coach, and the guy selling who's the running back? Johnny Jones?
The old running back for the Alabama. Long time ago.
Mississippi?
Yeah. From Mississippi.
Jimmy Johns.
Jimmy Johns. He goes around and talks about this. And he's doing fabulous now, but he was on drugs back then. And Saban walked into him and said, I'll give you one more test. Now, this was a guy who walked into Alabama, and it wasn't a 1,000-yard rusher, but it was Alabama's top returning rusher. And he said, fail one more test, and I'll bring 3 more people better than you. Mm-hmm. And Johnny tells people, I failed. And Saban goes, go.
Yeah.
One of Freeze's problem, in my opinion, is he coddled these 5 stars. Where you're talking about Tunzel, where you're talking about Kim Deitchie.
Yeah.
Saban's just like, we're going to do it this way. And I think they respond better than that. But so many coaches never say no to these guys.
Right.
Wait a minute. Freeze is probably going to get any job he wants that's open. I mean, look what he's doing at Liberty. It's unbelievable.
Not any
unbelievable.
job. Not
I
any
think
job.
he may get the Texas job.
No way.
absolutely
I'm
not.
telling
They're
you.
trying to get Urban Meyer. You're not bringing in a coach
I'm telling
who
you.
does 25-0. Because, I mean, Tom Head right now, he was awesome at Houston.
Yeah.
And, I mean, Liberty and the big boys are 2 different things.
Well, he did well at Ole Miss.
Until he didn't. I mean, before he had the prostitute issue, they were 7-5, and he brought in an offensive coordinator.
Right.
So, I mean,
Richard,
it's a different world. Let me go ahead and say this. We were just talking about it. Mississippi State.
Yeah. They didn't look so good against Vanderbilt.
It's a whole different world where you got the SEC talent and commitment.
But wait a minute. But they just beat 3 5A teams. Beat West. Who'd they beat?
They beat Virginia Tech.
Virginia Tech.
Syracuse was one of them.
Syracuse, and then they just beat somebody else.
No, he's having a great career.
Yeah, but
a great season.
Yeah, but he's not beating world beaters.
Yeah,
he's got that Little B team 23rd in the nation.
Okay, once again, I'm not saying he doesn't have a great career. What I'm saying is, would you give him a $5 million contract after the way he did at Ole Miss?
Absolutely.
Would you deal with your alumni?
What do you mean?
Well, you got.
I think the alumni, all they want to do is win.
All he's got to do is win.
They just want to win. That's all it is.
Art Browse won.
A lot of these places.
Art Browse won and can't sniff again. Art Browse couldn't get a job at Southern as OC, and he never committed a crime, and he wasn't found of any NCAA violation that I know of.
But Art Browse,
his case was specific, right?
He got caught up in
the sexual assault against those players. Against those ladies on campus.
Yeah, he got caught up in the Me Too movement.
Me Too. That was not a Me Too movement. He covered up 16 rapes.
He is a victim of the.
He's a victim.
Yes, he is.
The man that was saying, "Don't worry about the rape accusations. Cover it up because we need the defensive end to start."
According to him,
Hitler was a victim, according to Hitler. Trump's a victim, according to Trump.
Oh man, I can't wait.
Apples and apples, Brett. Let's stay apples and apples.
We're getting there.
Let's be clear. Hey, the reason I'm talking about why he can't come back. Okay, we're talking about
now he being Freeze.
Art Browse.
Art Browse.
Okay.
He is in that, hey, you supposedly allowed this to happen to the co-heads, and you covered it up.
Whoa. They have evidence of him calling the officers. Now, let me say this. In my opinion, this happened down in Florida State. If you're a top 10 program, it's documented they were doing Pell Grant fraud in Miami.
Right.
I personally think Urban Meyer knew or should have known about Aaron Hernandez because there was 2 murders going around. And this is not in Nebraska. On Osborne and Lawrence Phillips dragging a girl down the hair. Everybody knows, and if you ever been on a big campus, I can name the players that were given at Ole Miss when I was there. Derek Burgess drew a desk reported by CNN at a TA, and the TA wanted him gone, and she went to Miami or he went to Miami, and Burgess was Independence Bowl MVP. I mean, it is big-time business and big-time SEC football college football. Mm-hmm. But no, Art Browse. Okay, let me ask you this. What does the coach have to do for you not to rehire? Would you hire Art Browse right now? Florida State's your team.
No, yeah, absolutely.
Art Browse is 50.
Die-hard Florida State fan.
Well, you're a graduate.
Right now, we're
you suck. You suck.
We suck horribly.
You can say it. As an Ole Miss alumni, I know sucking.
It is depressing. It is depressing, and we will be back in 10 years.
Yeah, Ole Miss's slogan is "There's always next year."
10 years.
Okay, if Art Browse is 75, is 55 and not 75, would you hire him?
No. Because look, hey, you got what you were talking to Richie about when you hire Hugh Freeze. you're not just hiring a head coach. You're going to be hiring his past. And you have to address and account for his past, for the things he has done. And the people who are going to they're not going to hold him accountable. They're going to hold you accountable for hiring him. So,
wait a minute. So if someone makes a mistake, they can't be a better person and learn from those mistakes?
Well,
Yeah,
no.
see, that's what I always ask too. Can you
Okay,
not?
okay, whoa.
Can you not get forgiveness and come back?
Okay, wait a minute. I'll take one of y'all each. Okay? You're ahead of your beloved Rebels. Art Browse, who took Baylor out of nowhere,
Yeah.
has accusations that he covered up to 16 rape allegations violating Title VII. You hire him back.
Those are different. Those are criminal actions. What they accuse Freeze of is calling a prostitute. Don't even know it was for him. Could have been. I don't know. But he called.
Whoa, stop.
We don't know.
Stop.
We don't know.
Stop.
That's a
This
Trump.
is, first of all, you are so Ole Miss biased, and you don't even. Do you recognize that? Do you recognize it? You
We
literally
don't know
told me
why
at the
he
beginning
called.
of.
We don't even know.
I took him to my fantasy football league draft last year in Vegas, and this idiot wanted me to draft Chad
Kelly.
Kelly is my first round draft pick. And if they go to Ole Miss, you Jackson Prep, I'm calling you out. You Jackson Prep graduate, if they go to Oxford, you think they walk on water. If he frees, okay, here's the two scenarios. One, he was using a state campus issued phone.
No
That's
question.
right.
For personal use.
That's
Right.
right.
That's
That
embezzlement,
he should not
right?
have done that. Yeah. Right.
Did we ever figure out that? And look, they don't make that phone call and fire him immediately unless they know, because that AD
Boy,
boy.
he admitted to doing it.
Okay.
He didn't tell you who it was for, though.
So let's work out those options.
Okay.
Okay. He's either buying prostitutes for himself,
Okay.
right?
somebody.
That's option A.
Right.
Option B is buying prostitutes for kids.
Right.
So which one's legal in your book?
None of them are illegal.
None of them are
But what
illegal?
I'm telling you is that
Yes,
he
sir.
still could.
Sir. Yes, that is illegal.
It is
Yeah,
illegal.
yeah. Both of them are legal.
Okay. So
Yeah.
which one would be better in your scenario?
It is illegal.
Buying
Prostitutes.
whores for 18, 17-year-olds, which you
But
might run into some steps.
You use the
to-
word kids. All right. Let's. They were.
Okay, wait. I'll get to you.
they
I'm
weren't
coming down
12
to you, Trump. I'm coming. So you would hire Hugh Freeze back
I would.
at Ole Miss
I would.
after he left. He didn't leave. It wasn't the prostitutes that left that damn program sucking with no defense.
Right.
Well,
So was the prostitutes the reason I can't make a tackle in Oxford
You know
right
what?
now?
You don't win
Quite
every year
possibly, yes,
consistently. It's no coach does. Even Alabama coach has bad seasons.
Nick Saban has not had a bad season.
Well, he's not. A bad season for them is not winning a championship.
Wow, I understand that. You just said Nick Saban had a bad season.
He did.
When?
When
What?
he didn't win a championship.
Okay.
You know, Hugh Freeze. I couldn't hire him because of the hypocrisy.
Oh, stop. I'm going down here.
Now that is a. I agree with that.
Stop. Right here.
Yes.
AD. Who is your college? I mean, I know your family's tied to MC. but-
Louisiana Tech.
Okay, Louisiana Tech. You hire Art Browse? If the age is, because here and why I say his age, a lot of people say he's too old to take that type of heat in the short term.
What about his son?
his son? His son is hired at Arkansas.
Oh, is that right?
Ole Miss considered him. That's why Ole Miss lost that game, is because Arkansas runs the same offense we do. His son-in-law is the offensive coordinator at Oxford.
Okay.
Yeah, I mean that's the same offense. They've learned it from Browse, which is the air raid on hyperspeed.
Right. No.
Back to you. You're AD at Louisiana Tech. You hire Art Browse.
No, I mean you might hire him in a coordinator position, but not the head coach.
Okay. Do you hire him? And that's what Southern tried to do.
I mean, because there would be there'd be protests, you know, and so I just think from a PR standpoint, you can't do it.
It's just too much of a headache.
Hugh Freeze.
Yeah.
Do you hire Hugh Freeze to Louisiana Tech?
Now, Hugh Freeze, maybe, yes,
Okay. Do you?
because again, the allegations were different. I mean, covering up rapes versus him maybe having a personal problem. in just involving school property like a phone to do that. I think that's different.
Yeah, well, I go back to the hypocrisy. If you don't know about Hugh Freeze is a Bible thumper.
Quoted Jesus all the time to a point he almost got sued for.
Yeah, I mean, he is.
Jesus almost sued him.
He is.
What are you saying?
He is a
Stop! Stop! You can't keep on talking when you say stupid stuff.
What do you think?
Who sued him?
People threaten Hugh Freeze because he's a public employee invoking Jesus at all these prayer
like
meetings
First
and stuff like
Amendment.
that.
Yeah,
I mean, they never sued him, but they were threats of violation of state and church. You didn't hear any of that.
No.
Stephen, did you hear any of that?
No, I didn't, but that doesn't surprise me.
Okay.
That he may have taken that a little too far and got threatened with.
Go ahead, Mr. Cross.
So when you have somebody with that much hypocrisy, and I can't trust somebody that's that much of a hypocrite. I mean, he reminds me of if you're a Trumper or if you're a right guy, remind me of a guy named Ralph Reed from the 90s, the right hand of God.
Never heard of that.
Or Jimmy Swaggart?
Yeah.
Remember Swaggart?
All right, I will tell you who Ralph Reed is.
I didn't ask.
I will tell you anyway.
I don't think anybody cared.
All right, you need to know.
Nobody needs to know Ralph Reed.
Ralph Reed was a right-wing conservative who was known as the right hand of God. He was every time you see him, he was spouting out Bible verses just like Swaggart, and he had a problem with the ladies.
Yep.
And so, that right there to me, if he was just a regular old Joe living his life doing his thing and he had a problem with the ladies, I could get through it. But when you moralize the other people and you're immoral yourself, it just...
Well, let's react it different. If Freeze is hired at Florida State and they win 10 games, are you happy?
Yes.
Okay, well, that's it. That's the end of it.
Right.
That's not the end of it.
It is. That's what it's all about.
So you're saying, okay, what level? O.J. Simpson was the hottest coach out there. I want to find out the level.
O.J. Simpson?
I'm making up a scenario,
Oh, okay.
hypothetically. He's the hottest 40-year-old coach, and he's been winning at Division II, but there's rumors. What is the level when you hire a coach?
I don't think it's, a misdemeanor is nothing. I mean, he used a phone one time. He didn't use his own phone.
One time?
Yeah.
One time?
One time. That's all they
it was not one time.
That's all they accused him of.
It was not one time.
they
Would you
got
agree
bored.
with me that Ole Miss had some reason not to put everything out there?
Because he admitted that he did it.
One time.
Yes,
that's all they're saying.
You only need the one. If he admits it.
But
right?
you're saying because as an ex-prosecutor, you don't catch the criminal on the first attempt. Are you saying in your mind he did it one time? If I put your hand down and say you got a better finger,
I mean, I don't know, but that's all they said.
I don't know.
I don't know. I mean, I might. But
I heard they went through that phone bill and it was like ring, 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 ring. Because one time you can say that's the wrong number. You talked to her for 25 minutes. Well, she was an Ole Miss fan and I got excited. So it was more than one time, Richie.
They're like, what is this cinnamon who keeps coming up? Who is
Candy
this?
and Mandy.
Yeah.
Here's some football tickets.
Who is Candy? Who's cinnamon?
Why are you?
that makes sense. That makes sense.
No, one time.
Yeah, but but again, I would still, I don't care
Would
what a
you be
person
okay if
does.
you
I don't care what a person does in their personal life.
I think you
I
can
don't
separate
care.
that.
All I want is W's.
From their
So you're
professional.
okay with Hugh Freeze going to Mississippi State?
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, I mean,
I think Mississippi State would win.
But
Oh, no, it'd be a challenge.
I think I would have to agree with Richard and
Imagine that.
No,
Shocking.
no.
Newsflash.
No. I mean, honestly, it isn't a life extinguishable event. I mean, he did what he did, but that's nowhere to put him in a grave and bury him.
No, look, and this is what Stephen asked. When do you have redemption? Yes, I believe in redemption.
sure.
I wouldn't be here.
Right.
2, I need someone to redeem.
Yeah.
I need someone to confess. And let me just say this. This is my personal opinion. So, even everybody else, there's no way Hugh Freeze didn't know what was going on with the Ole Miss program. There's no way either he knew what was going on with because he got cleared by NCAA, and I hate this.
I don't think he knew. I think he turned a blind eye.
No,
That's called willing.
I'm just telling
the
you.
head
I'm
coaches-
100% certain he never got involved with it.
Because when we get the number one wide receiver, the number one offensive tackle,
He
the number
never
one
got
player,
involved
When
in
we
it.
get this, and he then turns to the camera of the NCAA on ESPN and says, "Come investigate us.
If you
if
got
you know
something,
anything, bring it on."
Yeah,
And-
that was stupid.
And
That was stupid.
And the NCAA said, "We'll be
Okay.
down there Tuesday."
Now, that was stupid. I
And
will
you know
admit
what?
that.
They found a lot. They found.
You know what? That is absolute hubris for him
Totally.
to go on the national TV, ESPN, and basically dare, not just the NCAA, he dared anyone.
Yeah.
He said if anyone has anything that you can say about our program, I want to know
You're
about it.
overcompensating. Because if you're in the top 20, you're cheating. There's no way to.
Well, like Ole Miss has one of the top recruiting classes in basketball. Are they going to be investigated now?
Of course.
I mean, it's wrong.
Kentucky's going to call us, and,
Yeah.
and Kentucky's
right.
going to be like, "What's going on? Our money's just as good."
Right.
And, and I know, hey, look, it came out supposedly the allegations on Zion Williams that he got paid $500,000.
Of course he did.
Yeah, you're not getting.
No, who's-
it's a business.
Zion Williams is
from
where?
Duke. And he
Williams,
went to
he was
the
at
Pelicans.
Duke, and now he's with the Pelicans.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, he played with the Pelicans, and I think that is, I mean, and we're not trying to get far afield. I don't know if you want to go sports show or not, but
I'd
that
like to get close to the mic.
That Zion Williams case, that thing has the ability to tarnish one of the greatest NCAA coaches of all time.
Oh, with Krzyzewski.
Oh, come on. Those guys aren't going to Duke for an education. Now, Duke's better at getting them tutors.
Yeah.
Duke's better at teaching them how to articulate and be educated and all that stuff.
Right.
But those guys are going for one. They're assassins. They're mercenaries.
One and done.
Yeah. And, I mean, that's great.
That's what Kentucky has one and done.
Correct.
Yeah,
but, I
that's
mean,
right.
the problem
Everybody
is.
is now.
But
Yeah.
I mean,
but Duke and Krzyzewski has that kind of that clean boy in
Yeah,
it.
they do.
Totally.
They do.
That
I don't believe it.
No.
They do the same thing everybody else does.
above board type image. So that's what I'm talking about. I'm talking about it has the ability to wipe the shine off of Krzyzewski.
Everybody who knows anybody knows that you're not turning down $250,000 to go. It's like, I forgot the kid's name. I think it was named Lamont Jordan. He was an outside linebacker that got Mississippi State in trouble in the 90s. And he went to Florida State when Florida State was Florida State.
Yeah.
And they asked him why, and State offered him a car, a house, and $20,000 off the top of my head. And there's nothing better at Florida State to go there to bypass all that. And you can't tell me, but when State, or like Cam Newton turned down State to go to Auburn. I'm not sitting here saying that Ole Miss is in the SEC and that they're not trying to walk that edge. Every college team in the SEC, maybe Vandy's not, but I would even say that they're trying to walk the edge. But
Right.
don't sit here and tell me that Nick Saban's beating us with just great coaching. He's beating us with
he's getting the
5-star
players.
players,
No doubt.
and Alabama's paying them.
Yeah.
I mean,
don't think that is true.
You don't think
Oh, my
Alabama's
God.
playing?
I don't believe Nick Saban needs to do that.
You're
So,
way
so you're
off.
telling me those 5 stars to turn down Florida State? They're not turning down Ole Miss.
well,
They're
they-
turning down Texas. They're turning down Clemson. They're turning down
They're
Michigan.
turning down Florida, LSU,
Yeah.
all the other.
So you're saying that they're just going to learn from the master?
Well, when you look at his record, and you can go check it out, folks. This man has the most first-round draft picks over the last decade. He has the most drafted players. I mean,
But he
he's
doesn't
turning
have the
out-
most successful NFL players because the running backs are usually bust.
Okay, let's see. Derrick Henry is not a bust.
Okay, one. Richardson. Bust or not? Trent Richardson.
Super bust.
Okay.
I mean, you went to a Super Bowl bust.
Well, I'm just saying.
Trent Richardson is the greatest running back bust
No,
over the.
no,
Yes,
no.
he is.
Blair Thomas.
Yeah, Blair. Okay, Blair was good at Penn State.
Second round draft pick. So a second over pick. Went to the Jets. Did nothing.
Yeah, but it was the Jets, though.
Well, okay, but no. But what I'm saying is, if you're a linebacker, if you're a linebacker in Alabama, if you're an interior defensive lineman in Alabama, maybe an offensive line, but skill positions until this round, Julio Jones and that's it. And then DBs, yes. But I'm just saying.
Look at the number one. Look at the wide receivers over the last 4 or 5 years.
You can't go past 4 or 5 years. You can go. You can name this round and Julio Jones and go ahead.
Okay. We got
Calvin
Ridley.
That's not. Whoa.
He was Alabama. Julio
4
Jones.
years. I said go 4 years. Calvin came out in the last. This is his 3rd year.
Okay, well, Julio has been gone in the league in 10 years.
I said Julio Jones and who else?
Oh, in terms of receivers, you can't name them. No, they have not. Alabama's produced running backs.
Running backs.
They used to be a running school.
Yes.
Now they've opened it up.
Yeah.
Now there's more receivers. That's all new.
That's all.
Judy,
this
Ruggs, all that.
is Judy or what? Judy. Yes, that's all. Last year.
You got Ridley. You got.
So what I'm saying is, if you're going NFL success, Alabama. The reason is supposedly Saban was the first guy who introduced. It used to be offense against defense, and everybody would rest. Saban says we got 2 fields, offense versus scout team at the same time, and they say that's why their shoulders of the linebackers and all those guys have to have surgery because they blow them out hitting so much. That's the accusation. So it depends on what you want because Saban runs a prison camp. And some people have said I'm not going to work that hard.
No. Well, Saban.
That's why he failed at Miami because he was trying to run a prison camp with grown men.
And that doesn't work in the NFL.
Yeah, with NFL multi-million-dollar people.
He lost a lot of respect at Miami when he had an incident where a player passed out. And instead of checking on the player, Nick Saban just stepped over the player and kept going.
Yeah.
And that just, from that point on, I think he lost that locker room in Miami. So,
well, I forgot who it was, but it was one of those big 330-pound defensive tackle that came over from Denver, and he put in his contract he couldn't run sprints. So Saban said, run some sprints. Said no. And they made him run laps. So at the same time, he would scream Nick while running, jogging. Nick! And you can't order grown. Who was the defensive end for Miami? Taylor. Taylor went up to him and said, "I'll be here after you're gone."
yeah.
And nobody's saying that at Alabama.
No.
Right.
No.
And okay, transitioning. Now that we got all that, let me correct some things. Last week we were talking about the Bradley effect, and I ignorantly thought it was about the gentleman who got shot. It's about Mayor Tom Bradley and how white people sometimes lie to pollsters about about how they're going to vote. And it's called the Bradley effect.
The California,
Mayor.
I think it was the California mayor.
Los Angeles.
Yeah, he ran and he was polling quite well, and to the point that they thought that he was going to win hands down, and they showed up at the polls. And the people were just lying to the polls. So that is the Bradley effect. That's what they look at.
Happens. And it definitely happens.
Well, let's get into it. Richie, your thoughts on the election?
Posters were wrong. That's what I'm.
That was okay.
The posters were wrong. They said it was going to be a landslide. It's going to be blue victory. They were wrong in the last election. I think people lie. When you take
almost
these
like
polls.
a Bradley effect.
Yeah, but I'm saying like people who supported Trump were probably too embarrassed to say I was going to vote for Trump.
I just said that Bradley effect.
Okay, yeah.
Okay.
I think people were too embarrassed to say they were voting for Trump, and they just.
And I don't know that it was strictly embarrassment, though. I'll say that may have been part of it, but for some people, you've already got people now saying, "Oh well, we got 70 million, racist POSs in this country." And, so there's a lot of people who just don't want to deal with the bull crap.
Right.
Like on a pollster?
No, on the election.
No, I know that, but I'm saying
they don't respond to polls because of fear of backlash.
But what I'm saying is if they call you up and they don't really supposed to take your name, it's supposed to be random.
If somebody calls me up and I don't know who they are and they're asking me who I'm voting for, I'm going to say bye and hang up.
Okay, and that's fine. But
I don't know who they are.
Yeah.
I don't know if it's some sort of hit job or they're immediately going to try to call me a racist or some such on social media.
But these people took election and they determined you're going to vote for Biden, you're going to vote for Trump, and they said that Trump was going to win by 10%.
Well, it's a little
Biden. I'm sorry, Biden.
It's a little more mathematical than that, Richard. When they do polls, it's a mathematical equation, and sometimes their sample size or the people that they're attributing what I believe happened to the pollsters were that they did not anticipate the swell that was. I mean, think about it. This election swelled almost by what, 10, 15? I mean, am I?
Oh yeah, it's more. Biden got more votes than anybody in history.
The election, Trump got the second most votes.
Got the second most of anybody
in history. The first
time
anybody broke 60, broke into the
70
million.
Right. Yeah.
Trump is at 71 million and getting trounced.
Yeah.
So
I don't know if he's getting trounced.
No, he's not getting trounced.
He's lost about 4 million.
I mean, because
4 million votes is a lot of votes
out of 300 million people.
Yeah, but he lost by 3 million in the state of California. So it nationally, the difference in the popular vote count can be attributable to 2 states.
Yeah,
all the rest of it is raised
California,
New York. California, New York.
New York.
That's 3 million votes difference right there. Just those 2 states.
The swell is so much so that I don't think that the pollsters anticipated it. And quite honestly,
okay, wait a minute. Let me stop you there. So, what was the problem with them last time? Because they missed it last time.
Yeah,
wasn't a swell last time.
Well, you had an intervening event in the last time. You had an FBI come out. Announced 10 days before the
Hillary
election.
Clinton is the worst candidate in the history of man. I'll say it. No one else will say it. She won one election. Okay. She won senator in New York that hasn't had a Republican since 71.
Okay.
And she couldn't win her home state of Illinois, and she couldn't win the state she was first lady in for 8 years.
Okay.
So she had to go to New York, and then she
did.
wouldn't even won the primary if Obama wouldn't have cut a deal. And so Biden couldn't run 4 years ago, and she couldn't almost beat Bernie Sanders without super delegates.
And she did that. Now, I will say everything you said is absolutely true. However, 2 things can be true at the same time. When that election was going between Donald Trump and Hillary Clinton, you had the worst Republican nominee aside the worst Democratic nominee.
No, you can't call Trump. You can disagree with him. You can say he's non-presidential. He just broke a record.
At that particular time, he was the worst Republican nominee.
No, you can't say that because no, you can say it in your opinion.
He's the only one I think who would have beaten. I don't think Marco Rubio would have beaten Hillary Clinton.
I think.
It's interesting that you say that. I say it completely different. The only person that could not beat Donald Trump was Hillary Clinton.
Oh, okay.
No, I agree with.
You're saying that you view it completely different.
Yeah,
than
I think he was the only
I think Ted
Republican.
Cruz would beat Hillary Clinton. I think Ted Cruz. Because I don't think they're voting for Ted Cruz. I think they were voting against Hillary Clinton.
Yeah, very similar to election just happened.
Correct, but it was voting against Trump.
Ted Cruz doesn't get those votes in Wisconsin like Trump did.
That could be fair.
He had this populist sort of middle class appeal.
Well, the Harvard lawyer heard
that guys like Ted Cruz would not have had, not in the Midwest.
But hang on. What was your impressions of the election?
I was not surprised. I said it was going to be close. I figured it could have been a Biden landslide, but it was going to be close. But I did not. I mean, I'm going to Reggie Fullwood $20. I bet him that Trump might win. But that was like 2 months before.
Hey, I have a question for you, and I don't know the answer to this. It really is the electrical votes, or what do you call them? Electoral college that determines who the president is.
Really?
Some states don't require them to vote to what the popular vote is.
Okay.
So can you lobby them to vote against
It's
Joe
been
Biden?
that way for 100 years.
Yeah, I think
It's been that
they've
way for
tried
100
that.
years.
So can you go ahead and lobby? Can Trump lobby them to prevent them from voting for Biden?
They technically can, but why would you break ranks? The biggest problem right now is Trump is being very disappointed that he doesn't have any Republican allies, because Republican, that's like their stepmother or their stepson. It was great when he was winning, but no one's coming to his defense. There's Lindsey Graham saying some things in the press. The new senator from Texas has said we need to focus on Georgia. But no one's coming forward with all this fraud because, one, Georgia is a Republican governor, Republican Secretary of State.
That's right.
But no, I mean, they could. You can try it. Trump needs to find out who's with him and who's just a whore. And he's got a lot of whores that held their nose and put up with him, but Trump did not treat people well.
Last election, Colorado, 3 votes from Electoral College went Trump, even though their district was supposed to go for
Are you
Hillary.
predicting this?
No, I'm just saying that. And so what happened, Colorado changed the law that said you must vote. Okay, changed it right after that election. There's some states that don't say that. I don't know if Pennsylvania's that way.
Why would it do this at this time 100 years? This time, why would they do this?
They did it last time.
3 people might have done it. I'm saying,
okay,
why
but
would
we're so close now, you don't know.
Okay, well, I was just looking at this. So this is the whole faithless elector thing.
That's right.
And a lot of states prohibit electors from voting. So like on our ballot in Mississippi, it says electors pledged to vote for Joe Biden. Electors pledged to vote for Kanye West or whatever.
But it doesn't say must.
No. Well, they said as a
But
pledge.
it says that the law
agreeing.
allows them, if they refuse to vote with the popular vote, they can actually be replaced with an elector who
What's
will.
Pennsylvania and Georgia? That's the question.
Let me see. I've got the list here.
But what I'm saying is, are you predict? Well, I don't understand.
I'm not
the
predicting
concern.
it. I don't know what the
Then
law
why?
is in those
But I
states.
mean, technically, UFOs could land here tomorrow and take over
Well,
the country.
if
I'm
I
not
were,
worried about
if
that
I
either.
were Biden, and if I was Trump and had that ability, he's contesting to the whole contest. If he can control that, he'll still be president. And can you do that?
If my aunt was my uncle, I mean, I don't understand.
I don't
the
know what it
question.
is in those other
But I mean,
states.
this has been the way. Why would they do that when you
They have done it. They did it in
they did
Colorado
it maybe,
last year.
I don't know anything about Colorado, but it didn't change the election.
No.
Okay,
No.
so
listen to this. So I'm just reading this. So in 2016, and this is USA Today. All right, I'm not looking at Fox News. All right, this is
Why do you have to qualify that?
because I'll get I don't want to get pushback from Brent about my. Anyway,
News Alliance,
this isn't Ben
allegiance.
Shapiro. This is USA Today. It's 10 electors were disloyal or tried to be in 2016. 8 were Democratic electors. 2 were Republicans, both in Texas. So you had Democratic electors in Colorado, Hawaii, Maine, Minnesota, and Washington who tried to vote for Clinton instead of Trump.
Okay, but this is a red herring. Back to the question. Mm-hmm. What did you think of the election?
I thought it was absolutely one of the most intense battles.
Okay, do I need to show you where a mic is?
Yes.
Okay.
I thought it was one of the most intense battles, political battles I have ever seen in my life. I walked away thoroughly convinced that Donald Trump was a political force that could only be defeated by Joseph Biden.
Oh, stop.
He could have no.
Joe Biden was
No.
what you are. Okay, you're telling me
Kamala
that people
would've
were
lost.
Okay, you're telling me that people were voting for Joe Biden.
No.
People
Well,
were voting against Donald Trump.
People,
I agree with
Donald
that.
Trump was a force that swelled this election. He brought out people for him, and he
And
brought
against.
out people.
Of course,
against him.
yes.
And now he's going to
Biden
start
was
his own
there.
TV
And
station.
that
Yeah.
was Joe Biden that also had an appeal in the Midwestern regions that allowed that vote against him and allowed people who want to be for Joe Biden to show up and vote. Kamala would not have won
No,
this
she doesn't
election.
connect with voters.
That's
why
right.
I mean, everything was laid out for the Democratic primary to go to Kamala Harris or Cory Booker.
Yeah.
You
Yeah.
wanted a young, energetic,
It didn't
photogenic, young person, a mixed, some sort of racial minority to go against this 74-year-old white New Yorker.
Mm-hmm.
And they couldn't beat Warren, they couldn't beat Bernie, and they couldn't beat Biden.
If you recall the primary, think about it. In the first 2 primaries in New Hampshire and in Iowa, I believe it was Bernie, and I believe the other one was it not Klobuchar, but what's the woman out of
Elizabeth Warren.
Warren?
Yeah,
Did she, I
Elizabeth
think
Warren.
it was South Carolina
That saved him.
that the African Americans in South Carolina looked at the primary field, looked at Kamala Harris, looked at Cory Booker,
looked at Elizabeth Warren,
looked at Elizabeth Warren,
neither one of those three would have gotten
and made the same decision that I said.
Right.
There's no way that you guys can beat that guy. Mm-hmm. And that Joe Biden, and you can disagree with me, is the only.
No, that's producing. Keep on going.
Okay, Joe Biden.
Do two things at once.
That's right.
Maybe turn your phone off.
Well, I thought I did.
That's what you get for thinking.
Yeah.
Okay, but you're. Let me go ahead and answer this while he fixes his phone. Here's the thoughts of the election. One, midway through it, I thought he'd done it again. When he flipped Florida, I thought the man had done it again. I was sitting here saying the man is going to pull the upset again. Two, I was so mad at black voters, I'm not going to lie, when he lost North Carolina, and you had the NBA and the NFL and all this register to vote, which I don't know why we're telling grown folks to vote, but I was like, the black people are coming out for Trump, or black males. It was the white suburban, and I was furious. But then I was like, Ric Flair, you have done it again. You deserve credit. But then the mail-in vote saved him, and Biden's your next president. But I was worried. Now, like I said, I appreciate the man. Mm-hmm. I appreciate the force. Mm-hmm. But I hate the game. Yeah.
Well, I mean, think about it. This actually, America should be really proud for this election. No election had this many votes ever.
We're still at about 68%.
What's that?
We're talking about 74 and 70 million people, which is 144 million. It's 300 million people in America.
It's still the highest voters.
It's a better turnout.
You got to look at the
in the right
age,
direction.
The voting age. But I got to tell you, I agree with you. The initial that night.
I can't tell it. I don't even know if I want it.
It ruined my last night on my vacation because I thought for a minute that he had pulled it off.
Oh, I mean, you can't hate the player, but no. Okay, let's. What do you think history will say about Trump administration?
That's a great question. I think he is going to be criticized throughout history for COVID-19. Very criticized, and the isolationism of Trump. I mean, he's an isolationist. I mean, not only with tariffs, where he wouldn't let Muslims come over here, he's trying to block the Mexicans, or America's not supposed to be isolated. That's what makes America great. Is the mix of people that come here to get an opportunity to work hard and do what they're supposed to do. We're not supposed to be isolated.
That's a great
and we're all part of the world. You can't isolate us from China.
Suck up anymore.
No, it is a great
That's
answer.
a great answer.
It is, because I'm going to tell you something. Think about what he just told you.
It was obvious.
No. What is the greatest legacy of George Bush? 9/11.
That's a great answer, 9/11?
No, think about it. 3,000 some odd lives was lost on George Bush's watch for 9/11. And that will always be part of his history, a part of his record.
Oh, this is some cutting edge stuff.
We're talking about how many lives have been lost from COVID? Over 100,000 lives, American lives.
Okay, but here's the problem with that analysis.
200,000.
The problem with that analysis
I think so.
If we did everything I've known about, and I'm defending the man I was mad about was going to win, but if we did the lockdown and stuff, the lockdown at some point was told to me so we could preserve assets.
It's to
We could
preserve hospital capacity.
Yes, capacity and things like that. It was not to prevent
The virus has to spread.
Yes.
It has to. It just has to spread.
And I mean, look at Europe.
I'm not saying it's locked down. Tell everyone to wear a mask.
Yeah.
Okay.
That's it.
But the thing
He
about
wouldn't
it
do
is,
that.
which no one wants. And once again, I'm defending the man. The experts early on in America, Europe was different, but in America, they said you don't have to wear a mask.
They do.
Okay.
I mean, they retroactively said it's because we had we were running out of the resource.
We have some countries like New Zealand who barely suffered, and they did suffer.
You realize it's an island.
Well,
And who goes to New
It's
Zealand?
completely every Western. I mean, look, the thing about laying so much of that at Trump's feet is okay. What about England? What about France? What about Italy?
It's part of their history too.
But he's not. But he's not governing in Italy, where
No,
where
but they
on a
did it
per
completely
million
different
basis, just as many people have
than
died.
Trump did. Trump's going to say, "Oh, it was just a Democratic plot. Oh, it's nothing but the flu."
No, that's
I mean,
true.
that's his legacy.
That's
He
true.
he downplayed it so much, man. I mean,
Well, he was worried about his economy. Look, I'm not saying he was a good leader doing it, okay? And he passed the buck, and it was a great opportunity. But leaders are going to be judged on the tragedies, on how they handle the crisis.
I think that's right. Though he's going to one of the things he is going to be remembered for, and I'm just saying I don't know that this is entirely fair, but he's going to be remembered as the COVID-19 president, and
that's right.
200,000 people died,
That's right.
and blame was laid upon him for that.
I mean,
That's part of
how
his
do, now
legacy.
you're openly a Trump supporter. How do you remember the administration?
Well, I think that history may be a little more kind to him in terms of policy. One of the things that he doesn't give any credit for, we didn't talk about it because it was an election year, is Middle East peace deals that got made recently. He's been nominated by Europeans who are not necessarily conservative for the Nobel Peace Prize, and everybody scoffs at that. But two things that he's done is he has made deals in the Middle East, or helped to broker deals in the Middle East that people said would never happen between Israel and these moderate Islamic countries. The other thing is that Trump has not involved large-scale U.S. military forces in any foreign engagements. He bombs. Name the last time you guys can remember that a president, Democrat or Republican, has not mobilized additional troops to go onto foreign soil. He hasn't done it.
Is that a good thing or bad thing?
Well, I say it's good.
I'm not. At some point,
that comes back to that whole, like what Tulsi Gabbard and others talked about, that military-industrial complex, the foreign policy establishment that profits from foreign engagements.
Totally.
He did not do that.
But what I'm saying is,
and that's why when you got guys like John Kelly and Mattis who now hate him, it's because of that. He bucked that trend.
There was some more than that.
His personality stuff too, but he was not following the foreign policy establishment playbook. Nobody gives him any credit for that.
But what I'm saying
I
is,
think he should get
if
credit
we're
for
going to
that.
maintain a superpower, if we're going to maintain the only superpower in the world, do we not have to keep that up? Because here's the problem: if we stop that, there's a vacuum that either China, Russia, or maybe the
Are we the
Saudis.
peacemakers of the world? That's the question, right?
No. I'm not talking about peace. Forget peace.
Well, war.
What I'm saying
is
should-
the threat of war is peace.
But it's not even that. What I'm saying is, to be the superpower, you have to be the powerful one. Period.
Well, that's true, but
you just want to. You just want to have that.
I want you to get by a mic.
Get
I want
your
you to get
mic.
by a mic.
You want to have that stick and not just have the stick. You want to swing it every.
No,
now and
I'm
then.
just. But what
well,
I'm
that's
saying
what I
is,
was saying. You can preserve a high level of military capacity, and everybody can
Right.
know it without having to go and kill people.
But what I'm saying is,
Unless
this
it's
is what
absolutely
kills me about the
necessary.
Middle. We went into the Middle East for one reason: oil production. Period. We've never gone to Africa. We're not going to go where poor people are or no resources
we
are.
have gone to Africa. We brought slaves over here.
Easy killer. I'm talking about.
they came up on boats.
Well, fine. You make my point. It's still money making. It's still an economic issue.
I was just saying. I thought we were factual.
Wait,
That's all.
I'm fine. I'll agree with you. But what I'm saying is, we are not going to save the world. When Rwanda was having their civil war, we were good.
Yeah.
When people were getting killed in Kuwait, oh hell no. So the reality is, to maintain a superpower, you have to dominate the world. Because if you don't, you lose. Now, whether we can get into the war machine or not, the war machine also produces innovation.
it does.
And also produces jobs.
And it's also responsible for the strength of our economy in a lot of ways, our currency and our credit.
I would say that our dollar
as a country
is tied to
the military. It is. And so but there's a balance you can strike there. Like with Trump, he did not reduce the military, he did not make cuts. He did bomb Syria that one time, but he has not mobilized troops. And I think it's because he takes a more economic or business-like approach even to that. He says, how much is it going to cost us to mobilize 10,000 troops and set them up over there? And he said, no, we're not going to spend that money on that.
Do you want your leader to look at global strategy on a dollar? Defense spending is never profitable in the short term.
Right.
So, but the reason I would say that we didn't become a superpower until we went into Germany in 41. And we really, because, I mean, the reasons the Germans didn't give a damn about us, because I think I was watching it with you, the documentary, we were the 17th or 18th best military in the world. Right. And the Germans laughed at us.
Yeah, they didn't care, yeah.
Mm-hmm. And then we came, and what I'm saying is, to me, there's a cost of doing that. We want to know where the barbarians at the gates are.
Right.
And so they won't sneak up on us, whether it's satellite. And one of the criticisms Obama never gets hit with, Obama was killing people with drones left and right. Yeah, and not everybody was guilty.
He was.
And there was no trials. There was no juries. He was just bombed this one. Good. And in our minds, no humans are doing it. Some kid on a video stick is. Right. So it's not murder. Mm-hmm. But what I'm saying is, at some point, we have to understand our lifestyle's killing people.
I think the world is changing in some regards like that, because now, most of your military enemies are not nations. I mean, you're talking about terrorist groups or other groups. Mm-hmm. Another thing I was going to say, though, about Trump, just thinking about how, in terms of how he's approached the military, he hasn't cut any of it back, but you remember this was 2 or 3 years ago, maybe a year and a half in, and I can recall them talking on the nightly news. There was a piece about how to talk to your kids about the threat of nuclear war with North Korea. Okay, that was an actual story I saw on the news. Yeah. And then within 6 months, he's on TV with the guy, shaking hands, and we are no longer talking about going to nuclear.
You know why? Because they're already building them. They've already done it.
No, there's reports coming out that Kim Jong is very upset because he's not gotten anything he wanted out of that meeting.
Well, it's okay. So be it.
But he's still building.
So be it. But instead of doing what we had done in the past. Which created this
aggression with aggression.
He went and met with the guy.
Well, the way we did it,
and he gets no credit for that.
Prevented them from getting any products and ruin their economy.
Let me sit close to this thing.
No, sit back.
No. I mean, when I sit back, I'm thinking and processing. But I think he.
So these are thought for answers you're giving?
Well, it's my thought position. Okay. I think like this. But anyway,
is that how he works?
Yeah, pretty much.
No,
go
ahead. Like this. No, I think he doesn't get credit for not being a warmonger, and he should get credit for that.
He campaigned on that.
Wait a minute, his boyfriend let the troops in Russia, Putin, march troops into Finland, and he just kissed his, you know what?
Well, isn't that because of the videotapes?
No, it could be. I don't know, but I'm telling you that. And by the way, I understand Putin is resigning in January.
No.
He has Parkinson's disease. That's not true.
I heard he was sick and something was going on.
Yeah, he's gonna die in that office.
I mean, there were stories he was going to resign in January.
I think Trump's history is going to be so complicated that even some of his most ardent critics will be forced to defend him because people are mischaracterizing his record.
Yeah, because he was so polarizing. With his personality.
His personality forces you to forget the things that he did that was bad, and some of the things he did that was good.
Like criminal justice reform at the federal level. No, Joe Biden did not do that.
Obama
justice didn't do
reform, that. He gets credit for. But we've listed this before, and I'll list them here now. The economy. Step one. Now the problem
it was great
if you judge it by the stock market, it was great.
Well, no, I mean if you
judge unemployment was record low.
Now here's the problem, and this is what people need to recognize: having minors not working is good for our society. It's bad for the economy.
Right.
So I mean the regulations, like I tell people all the time when they say, "Well, it costs us so much money to work here." Okay, you won't get rid of workers' comp because they don't have it in China. You won't get rid of Social Security because they don't have it in China. You want to get rid of labor wage and labor laws, or minimum wage, because they don't have it in China. We can streamline it as much as you want, but he gets credit for the economy. I think he gets credit for being a strong leader. Whether you agree with him or not, he was not getting swayed.
Oh, there's no one swaying him. There's no question about that.
I think he should get credit for his law and order position. Now, like I said, and then I think he also should get credit for his judges nominations.
Wait a minute. Law and Order, he's the one that called all these people who went into protest areas or the neo-Nazis basically heroes.
I'm saying he never stopped backing police. And he polled very well. And in my opinion, he never questioned police. Now, I think he threatened military, and I think it gets back to like saying someone saying I'm a Christian. His ass was like, don't make me bring in the federal troops. He should have sent the federal troops into Oregon.
Right.
He should have sent politically, he's not getting those states.
Yeah.
Right.
Two.
Yeah, but they were telling him not to. The governors were insisting that he not.
But you're the president. You can't tell me that Kennedy was told not to send in the troops to Mississippi. At some point, either, and this is my problem with Trump, either you're the super badass or you're not. Either you're the man who doesn't listen to anybody or you're not.
But in the case of Kennedy, you got that recorded call with him and Ross Barnett, where Ross Barnett saying, "I actually need you to do this because I don't." You remember the phone call?
I don't remember him saying you need to do this.
Yes, he said because he said he couldn't do it.
Hold a gun to me.
That's what he said. Yes,
but I don't remember him saying I need you to do this.
They were telling him they're coming.
Yeah, I don't.
He didn't call for them.
I don't think he ever agreed with them.
But you honestly, I mean, do you really think that the governors of those states and those mayors, I mean, that they told him we do not want you to do this, and Trump said, "Are you sure?" And they're like, "Yes," and he said, "Okay, fine." I mean,
that does not trump the supremacy clause. We literally had citizens without law and order because it's political. And what I'm saying is, if you're gonna say it, don't talk about it. Be about it. Two,
so you would have supported him having a greater military presence?
Yes. If they have
the nightly news would have they would have just their heads would have.
No, actually, that would have got him more votes.
Yes, it would have.
He would have been
better
because the fact all these riots took place, it's under his watch. If he went in there and was a strong leader and said, "I'm going to take action," I think he would have gotten.
Look,
the
editor at the New York Times got fired because they published an op-ed by Tom Cotton that suggested what you're saying.
It's in New York. He's not winning New York.
But everybody went apoplectic about even the mere suggestion that you would mobilize more troops on American soil. No, this was Nazism. This was martial law. He's going to impose martial law. He couldn't do it.
He would have been slaughtered.
He could not do that.
What? No, you tell them, and you've heard me say this on this show. You say, "Hey guys, I understand protesting. I'm all for protesting. Y'all have walked in and taken over the police department. There are American citizens that have federal civil rights that we're going to protect. You got till Saturday at 8 o'clock, boys."
I would have been fine with him doing that. I'm telling you, given the current climate and situation, he could not have done that.
He literally used the same. He used the same thing I'm calling for lawful citizens, so he could take a photo op at a church.
Yeah.
Yeah,
he definitely did do that.
He did that for a couple of hours and then left.
Okay,
this is not occupying the city of Portland with thousands of federal troops.
So you're saying it's better to just let the citizens kick out the police?
Well,
no.
Well, hang on. Let him answer.
No,
go ahead.
I'm telling you that I wish that he would have done that.
Okay, what I'm saying
is,
the point is
that he is trying to respect the idea that there's already people whose heads are exploding and they're blowing stuff up. They're lighting stuff on fire because of him. And when he sent troops to the federal courthouse and they stayed on federal property, he was called a fascist and trying to impose martial law.
You can't have Oregon when he did that. It was Oregon.
It was Oregon.
And
he's just defending the federal courthouse, and they're going crazy calling him a military dictator.
Or you don't. Either you believe in your rights or you don't. And just because because in this world today, 50% of the people are going to hate you. And that's my criticism of Trump. My criticism of Trump has always been the same thing as my criticism of conservatives right now. You're conservative when my ass gets hit by a hurricane, or you're conservative when my family files bankruptcy and you're like, it's the market, it needs a correction. But when it's a Republican or when it's a Christian, I don't hear these Christians talking about forgiveness when it's something I've done. It's judgment. But when I'm talking about...
I don't know which ones you're listening to.
No, I'm talking about any of it. Hugh Freeze.
I would forgive you, Brett.
I'm talking about... Okay, no, Falwell. Falwell Jr. just got run out of Liberty for having sexual parties with his wife. Wife swapping.
Allegedly.
He's allegedly a cuckold.
Yes. And I mean, once again, as a human being, I don't care. Yeah. I don't. But what I'm saying, what I care about is, and I was watching one today, there was a famous preacher that came after Meet the Press talking about the sin of the LBGT community. And I'm like, hey, bro, you can talk about some of your sins. You're up there on that stage. Talk about the last ass you looked at walking by your office. And you never get that. And I tell everybody, look, I've been hung upside down at a strip club in New Orleans. I've got relationship.
Whoa! We better know about that.
I've already told you about that.
Pause. I've never heard of that. What?
We were down at a bachelor party, and I was sitting there because I'm a non-drinker, and they were up there, and you know, of course, I was broke, and I was just sitting there watching the game, and a stripper came up to me named Stacy, and she went by Raven, and Raven's like, hey, what are you doing here? And she asked me, are you gay? And I said, nope. I'm broke. And she goes, well, do you want to go to the dungeon? I have a free time. And I was like, oh, let's go to the dungeon. And, you know, I was like, this will be cool.
Wait, a girl said, you want to go to the dungeon? And you said, sure.
I was like, why not? Never been to the dungeon.
Here, free.
And when she was put, I have trust issues. I have intimacy issues. While I'm in therapy, it results in anger. So while she's locking me up, clothed, she starts cranking the thing. And I'm like, where is this going? And then I'm upside down. Then Stacy leaves with my wallet.
Oh my gosh! You told her you were broke, right?
Yes, but I had credit card. I mean, you know, and I was like, "What the hell is going on here?" But obviously, a 6'6", 230-pound redneck had never been in the dungeon because those bolts were not that tight. And I was walking down there dragging change, screaming for Stacy, and a couple security guards came to me, and they were like, you know, what are you doing? I said, I'm getting my wallet back. And these guys looked to be ex-military, and I'm sure they would have whipped my ass, but they wouldn't have to do it with a chain and wrapped around the head. I was not happy, and I was still upset because I was chained. And I told Richie on this show, that's when I used the handcuff key I used to keep on my keychain to get myself out of those cheap-ass handcuffs.
You keep a handcuff?
I've never heard of that.
I've heard that. I talked about it because Jimmy Taylor, you said, yes, how
so
should
much more
not
interesting.
get a
This
handcuff
section
key?
should be labeled TMI.
But no, what I'm saying is, no, you can get in those situations.
You should
and
have
I'm
a
fine.
blinking in the background.
Oh my
TMI.
God.
Why don't you carry a blowtorch with you?
It's called a 9mm and a 223, and I keep them in the car in the trunk. So if I had to get a blowtorch, I use the gun.
Maybe not for much longer.
No, sunshine. Well, okay, right there.
What did you think a dungeon was?
I didn't know, but I didn't think Stacy that had been talking to me, and I said I was broke, would have tried to rob me.
Well, did you notice when you got handcuffs on you that something weird was going on?
Yeah, how did she
Yes,
get the chains
sunshine.
on?
I was like, well, why not? Well, let's try
Well, you had to
this.
put your hands out.
I just told the story, Richie.
I know, but
Did
now
I mention
you're
Stacy
making
was
fun
hot?
of Hugh Freeze.
Did I mention?
You making fun of Hugh Freeze.
That was my money. I wasn't spending State's money. And I just told the story, Hugh, you coward. I didn't go around and say it was one time. I didn't know what I was doing. I knew exactly what I was doing with Stacy. And Stacy robbed me. I got my stuff back. But I'm talking about it 47 because I'm not that person anymore and I'm a sinner. Y'all can't judge me. You can't judge me, Schwartz.
I've never judged you.
Oh, you one call. But that's it. We're ending this. This is going to end the show. We'll end it here, and we'll continue on part 2 to talk about the election.
All right.
I told that story 1,000 times.
I don't
That's the
remember.
first time I've heard. No,